Greetings, and welcome to Xenos Analysis. I am Colonel Ichabod Rhombus, and today we will be looking at a bioform that typifies the inherent nature of the Tyranid. Rippers are small, serpentine creatures with chitin-plated heads and upper backs, and 6 vestigial scuttling limbs. They have large maws filled with several ranks of needle-like teeth. Relatively puny compared to even the gaunts, they are, however, rarely encountered in minor numbers. Ergo, the writhing tidal wave of teeth they usually present is often enough to bring down even the largest and heavily defended of prey. When they first arrived in our galaxy, Rippers were more worm-like, with a circular, leech-like maw and a lack of limbs. However, since their arrival, like many bioforms, the Ripper has been modified, and there are now several variations to their biology that dictate how they are deployed on the field of battle. The most common variety of Ripper is an excellent tunneler. The swarms burrow into the ground and fan out under the very feet of their foes or towards important positions, whereupon they lay dormant, awaiting the command from the hive mind, whereupon they explode upward and fall upon whatever has been demanded of them. Another form has been dubbed the Sky Slasher. Large membranous wings grant these Rippers the power of flight, meaning they can swoop across the land, falling upon targets in great flocks of doom. The heavy weapons and artillery, so effective against the larger flying Tyranids, can be negated by these massive flocks of small creatures. A final and much rarer form is the eel-like Ripper that is grown for use on water worlds or planets with large oceans. Again, the great predatory beasts in these depths can be swarmed and overwhelmed by these rippling aquatic shells. The basic armament for the Ripper is its fang-filled mouth, but it can also be grown with a spine maw. This allows the Ripper to force air into several special channels in its face, propelling dagger-like projectiles at speed, and bequeathing the Ripper with a vicious, short-range missile weapon. The primary purpose of the Ripper is simply to harvest biomass, whether they brought down the organism themselves or it was felled by other, more evolved Tyranid forms. They fall upon the raw material like locusts, devouring it, gorging until they are barely able to move. Single-minded of purpose, they are fearless and fanatic in their quest to consume, gnawing even through plasteel in order to sink their teeth into their target. The act of even witnessing this horrendous act can be enough to strike terror into even the most disciplined of warriors. The sight of their fellows being torn asunder and swallowed by a rippling pile of chitin and claws is particularly unsettling. Once successfully glutted, they slither to the reclamation pools that arise around the final stages of a Tyranid invasion. Unthinkingly, they flop into the pools, and they and their contents are broken down to be funneled up via the capillary towers to the awaiting bioships. Their appetites are not limited to living creatures, though, for all is viable material to the Hive Fleet, and once all animal life has been devoured, plant life, soil, and even water become the focus for these rapacious harvesters. However, Rippers fulfill another, even more dreadful role in the Hive Fleet. The hive mind can trigger a dormant ability in these creatures, somewhat similar to the Hormigaunt's ability of parthenogenesis, that allows them to replicate and multiply, replenishing their numbers in a remarkably short time. But the Ripper's ability is far more complex and nightmarish. When commanded to do so, the Ripper becomes dormant and begins to process the biomass it has consumed. Its genetic structure begins to rewrite itself, and the Ripper begins to evolve. It has thus far been theorized that there is no Tyranid bioform that an activated Ripper cannot develop into. From a Homagaunt, to a Tyranid warrior, to a Carnifex, to a Swarmlord or even a Hierophant, Rippers will merge, donating their biomass to the development of the new bioform. The more Rippers there are, the larger and more numerous bioforms can be grown. So what we have is a bioform that not only gathers raw material, but can use those organic building blocks to construct itself a new and far more effective form to obey the demands of the hive mind. The Ripper, small and seemingly insignificant, but in numbers it is lethal, and it has the ability to regenerate a massive and highly evolved swarm. Should a targeted weld slaughter the Gaunts, the Zoanthropes, the Exocrine and Carnifex, and all the varied killing machines of the swarm, if Rippers have gone to ground, exact replica of that swarm could well be growing in secret and readying to restore the offensive. They may seem the most trivial weapon in the arsenal of the Great Devourer, but with patience, it has the potential to be the most devastating. The Emperor protects.